So I'm going to run you through my upper day blast. First up, starting with bench press, 8 reps. So I'm going to start off with the exercise that I really want to concentrate on as my primary. So for me, that's the bench press because I'm putting a little bit more focus on this, trying to build that strength up. Okay, so with that being done, that was my flat or horizontal push exercise. I go on to a horizontal pull exercise, which is up and coming. That's the Pendlay row. Again, I like this one just because it's the basically the opposite of the push exercise we just did. So this is the third round of the exercise. I mentioned in my Instagram that this is 3 rounds of all these exercises. You can see I'm struggling a little bit here. My back was definitely getting kind of tight. So with that done, I go on to the vertical push exercise, which in this case, it's going to be the overhead press. Probably one of my favorite exercises. I love the standing overhead press with a barbell. You can really get some weight up there. However, I only have the adjustable dumbbells. Now I'm doing these kneeling because if I stand up, I actually hit the ceiling here in the basement. This does make it a little bit harder on your core, so it's actually a bit better of an exercise from that standpoint, especially since we're going for a circuit on this one, so I'm really hitting the core pretty hard. Doing all these exercises back to back with as little of a break as possible. So with that done, I go on to the pull, vertical pull exercise. In this case, it's pull-ups, as many reps as possible. Unfortunately, I didn't move the camera at the time, so that's off the screen, but trust me, I did them, and they were not easy. As I mentioned, this was the third go-around of this circuit, so I was struggling. As you can see, I stopped here just to take a quick water break before I start my next exercise, which I had to look what it was. It is the decline push-up, so you'll see that up and coming. So now that we've got the decline push-up going, this is a superset with decline resting with my feet on the bench, followed by a decline variation with the backpack for some weighted resistance. I threw these in here as a way to get my lower chest more activated. That's an area that I've been trying to work on a lot, and it's really hard to do that without a dip bar for weighted dips or without a barbell for doing a decline bench press. So I try to really hammer this in with the push-ups as well as the push-ups with the backpack. So after the push-ups with my feet on the bench, this decline push-up with the backpack is not easy. That backpack probably weighs, I'd say, anywhere between 20 to 30 pounds, give or take. So it's struggling. I think I got 10 reps here on this exercise, and it was not easy, especially, like I said, this is the third round, and it's tough. I was definitely starting to feel the burn at this point. So that was my angled push exercise. Now I go on to a more of an angled pull exercise. In this case, it's the single arm row. I do each side individually rather than doing it 2 arms at a time. This way I can really concentrate on the exercise on each side. This also gives me a chance to get some more reps in on the left side. As you might not be aware, I'm weaker on my left side, so therefore I like to throw in an additional rep or 2 on my left side where I can. So I actually had to stop and take a quick break here before I started on with the left side. This is not an easy exercise this far into the game, especially when I'm trying to do this with 70 pounds on the dumbbell here per side, so it's tough. But this is the angled pull. You can see I'm struggling there a little bit. I'm not quite, form isn't quite as well as I would want it to be, but it was my last set, so I just busted out another rep or two just to try to get that done. So now I was done with the angled pull. I was trying to go on to one more push exercise, another angled push exercise. In this case, it's the press out. One key thing to note here is make sure you squeeze the bar. Now you can do this with a crush grip on a dumbbell as well. My dumbbells don't really lend itself to that, so I just have to grab either corner and then press it out. But if you have a dumbbell, you can just use a crush grip, and you really want to squeeze as hard as you can to try to get that upper chest involved. It's not all about the delts in that exercise, but if you squeeze, you'll definitely feel that in the upper chest. So now we go on to the last exercise, which is the dumbbell high pull. So you'll notice here I do it a bit differently than most people do the high pull or upright rows. I keep my thumbs higher than my pinkies in this case, and that helps with the shoulder, because otherwise you could get into internal rotation at the top of the rep, and that's not good for your shoulder joint. So this is the last exercise as well with the upper body blast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was the third round. So with that, we're done.